Okay. Hope you're having a good orientation so far. As Wissy mentioned, I'll be doing health and safety. So I'll just go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so today's topics that I'll be discussing will be University Health Services in the Tang Center, counseling and psychological services known as CAPS, and health insurance details. And last but not least, I'll also be talking a little bit about safety in the Bay Area. So the first topic is University Health Services, or UHS, and the Tang Center. So this slide has a few services that they offer. So it's good to know what all they offer in case you need it. Primary care specifically and urgent care might come up more than other services, but it's good to know everything that they do have. So yeah, and I'd say UHS and Tang Center is sometimes used interchangeably. However, they basically mean the same thing, but UHS is like the actual health services. Okay, so seeking care at the Tang Center. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and pull up the landing page so you can see what all they offer. So we have a screenshot here, but I think it's really helpful to actually take a look at their actual page. So I have this pulled up here. And essentially you can go through this to see everything you need to know about getting care at UHS. One good thing to know is that they have a 24/7 advice nurse. So if you're not sure if, you have something that warrants an appointment and you just need medical advice, the advice nurse might be a good place to start. You can also see about getting an appointment, counseling appointments, going to urgent care, preparing for your appointment, which you can make through your eTang portal. And I'll pull up a little bit more about how to schedule an appointment in a little bit. Preparing for your appointment, how much you pay. One good thing to know about UHS is that it's available to you, even if you might not have SHIP. They do provide a lot of free services, such as Let's Talk consultations, health coaching, group counseling. So it's really a great place in case, even if you don't have SHIP, if you are looking for services. Okay, and then what I also wanted to pull up, because I think it's also really helpful, is that we have the appointments page. So this really is just a good chart in case you're not sure like how to call the advice nurse or drop in appointments. Everything that's available, you can just go ahead and look through this. Okay. All right, so counseling and psychological services, or CAPS. So that's kind of the branch of, at UC Berkeley that essentially focuses on your mental health. So counseling and mental health. So what is mental health? I know that many of you are aware, but it's essentially your psychological state of being. It's essentially, how you're able to deal with like the day-to-day, your stresses, and, just being able to check in with yourself and kind of figuring out like how you're doing or what your mental state is like. Sometimes you might be going through like more stress than you realize. Sometimes you might not even realize that you're going through anything. As you go through your journey at Berkeley, you might have to check in with yourself to see, what your overall state of being. Sometimes you just know something might not be right. And I'd say just know that there are ways that you can navigate this at UC Berkeley. So we have mental health counselors at Berkeley, or I should say CAPS has mental health counselors at Berkeley to kind of help you with navigating either like a short-term plan or a long-term plan that might require a referral. And essentially they should be able to help you with kind of navigating a plan to figure out like how you may deal with like stress and anxiety, depression, grief, shame, guilt, and emotional pain. And what I'll say, just one thing to remember as you're going through your program, you're never alone at Berkeley. There's like a wealth of services to kind of help you through. So on this slide, we have common concerns of international students. It ranges from uncertainties and changes with your visa status, not being able to connect with peers, conflicts between values at home and in the US. One thing I did want to say, like, while this is, a list that's, specific to international students, what you'll find when you even connect with maybe like a domestic student, that, they also have very similar concerns. So these are concerns that are also like beyond the international community as well. They might not have to deal with specific visa status issues. However, I'd say a lot of people are going through a lot here as well. Then next, I just wanted to briefly touch on imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is essentially that feeling that you don't really belong, that you're an imposter or a fake, and someone might find you out. That you're not smart or talented as others think. It might be an experience where you're in the classroom and you're listening to your peers, and somebody might share like their background, and you might think, wow, like that's really impressive. I don't have that specific background. Do I really belong here? But the truth is, you do belong here. And a lot of people, unfortunately, experience imposter syndrome. It's a pretty common, issue. So I'd say, again, and this will be kind of a recurring theme, but you're not alone. So how do you deal with that? Well, you can start by talking to a friend or a counselor, be compassionate with yourself. You can also give yourself kind of like a pep talk, check in with yourself, be like, are these thoughts, logical? Are they rational? You can even think, oh, maybe that person also has to have these talks themselves. Maybe they don't feel like, you know, maybe they're also comparing themselves. But the truth is, you were accepted to UC Berkeley for a good reason. You don't have to prove that you are Cal material. You are here for a reason. And, if you're ever in need of like help or just want to talk to somebody, there are resources available. So with CAPS services, they have a lot. So they do brief therapy, referrals to the community therapist for long-term counseling, evaluation and medication, crisis counseling, group sessions, phone consultation, career exploration, and career library. And finally, Let's Talk, which is like an informal, casual way to check in with a counselor. It's a very casual way to do it. Like if you're not sure if you might, like therapy is right for you at this time and you just want to consult with somebody, it's a good way to kind of get started. And then here we have information on how to speak with a counselor. So this would be through CAPS. You have the non-urgent appointments and the urgent appointments, urgent drop-in counseling for students in crisis. You can see that they're the same number. So that's the main number. For non-urgent appointments, you can also schedule it through the eTang patient portal, which is the secure way of setting up an appointment through CAPS. They also have 24/7 after hours support that you can call, which is that 855 number. And last but not least, like this is not through CAPS, but there is a Path to Care Center for victims of sexual or domestic violence. So if ever you're in a situation where you or somebody experiences sexual assault, stalking, any sexual violence, I'd say definitely call Path to Care. It's 24/7. It's also confidential, and then you can be connected to a Path to Care advocate to kind of help you with a plan and help you through this. So next I'll talk a little bit about Let's Talk. So this is like the frequently asked questions page. It's really helpful to kind of look through it. I'll just go ahead and let you read it for like half a minute, because I'll also be talking a little bit about it in the next slide. Okay. Okay, and this is like the Let's Talk schedule. So this is just a sample schedule. And what I'll also do is I will pull up the Let's Talk page as well, so you can kind of see how that looks. Okay, let me make this bigger. Okay, so this is their live schedule. You can always go forward to kind of see like what times work for you. And if you scroll down, you can see the staff and like when they are going to be doing Let's Talk. And you can see their specialties as well on the right-hand side. So if you're looking for somebody with, a specific specialty, you can look through that to see who might be a good fit for you as well. And if you want to make like a one-on-one appointment as well and not do Let's Talk, and you wanted to see the full staff, you can click Meet the CAP staff to see the full counseling staff as well. So this is really useful. Okay. All right. So next, I will be talking a little bit about health insurance. So what is health insurance? Health insurance, the way I think about it, it's kind of like an agreement you're making with a health insurance company to help offset medical costs. So medical costs in the US can be very expensive. So health insurance definitely helps you. So you're not paying like the full fee. So at Berkeley, all Cal students are automatically enrolled in SHIP, unless they submit a waiver, which I'll be talking a little bit more later. But in general, you do need to have health insurance here. And when it comes to SHIP, they offer physical and mental health insurance, vision insurance, and also dental insurance as well. And you can find the corresponding companies here. And you will essentially receive the cards in the mail. You can print them online. You can also download the apps for each one and access the cards that way as well. So where should you keep your health insurance card? I'd say pretty accessible. I recommend in your wallet, just in case your phone dies or anything like that. You also have like the physical card with you. But my advice is to have both just in case. It's always good to be sure that you have that so you're being processed with your health insurance. So what if you don't have health insurance? Well, if you don't have health insurance, then unfortunately you would have to pay extremely high, very high costs. So let me just go ahead and pull up the SHIP benefits. Okay, so this is their SHIP benefits page. This talks a little bit about what everything covers and how much you're expected to pay. So the copay is essentially what you would be paying, what you're expected to pay upfront. But yeah, it's good to know what all they cover. And if you're not sure about the terms as well, and you have SHIP, there's a really good glossary of insurance terms page as well that you can go through in case, health insurance is new and US health insurance is new to you as well. And of course, it's always a good idea to have a conversation with the SHIP office if you're not really sure if something is covered. So you feel sick, how can you get help? Okay, so if it's an emergency of any type, don't hesitate to call 911. You want to make sure that you are going to get care immediately. So if it's an emergency, call 911 or go to the nearest hospital. If Wellfleet, which is the medical insurance for SHIP, if they agree that it's an emergency, and I know I was just pulling up the glossary so you can see how they define emergency, but if they agree that it's an emergency, then you will be covered and you should only be expected to pay that emergency copay. And, like I said, always feel free to have a conversation with SHIP as they are the experts. And then when it comes to urgent care or primary care, if you're not feeling well and, you need to, see a medical health provider, you can go to the Tang Center. You can do the drop-in hours or make an appointment. And with vision as well, you can drop in or make an appointment. When it comes to dental, you can go to the MetLife website and then you can search for dentist and then make an appointment and then you go to the dentist that way. So as I mentioned, medical costs in the US can be very expensive. So we don't want you to have to spend a lot of money if you don't need to. If it's not an emergency, I'd say just go to the Tang Center. If the Tang Center, if it's beyond the Tang Center and it requires a specialist, you can still go to the Tang Center and they would essentially give you something called a referral, which is an authorization to speak to a specialist and get care through a specialist. Can you just go directly to a specialist without going to the Tang Center first? Yes, but you will probably have to pay the full price because SHIP won't cover these visits. And again, I strongly recommend having a conversation with SHIP in case you're not sure. It could be that they can go ahead and give you a referral. And then the SHIP waiver. So I know some of you had questions about the SHIP waiver. If you had national health care and you met like the SHIP waiver criteria, which is, to my understanding, is very high, then you might qualify for a SHIP waiver. I believe like their regular waiver period is passed. It was July 15, 2024. However, tomorrow is the final deadline to request a SHIP waiver. However, there will be a late fee of $75. I believe Erin put this in the chat earlier, but I strongly recommend reviewing the waiving SHIP page. It's really helpful and it has a lot of really helpful information. There are instructions. If you're not sure if something qualifies, I'd say try to talk to the SHIP office because they would be the ones making that decision and looking through to make sure that it meets their criteria. Okay, and our last topic is safety on and off campus. All right, so we have Berkeley has night safety services. So we have the Safe Walk, the night safety shuttles, and the door-to-door service. I'll just go ahead and pull this up really quickly. So this is just their page. You can look through it. So the Safe Walk is if you're walking a short distance and you'd like to book an escort, you can call them and then, set that up. And let me just go ahead and show you what that looks like. It's from dusk to 2:30 a.m. There's really good information here on how to request a walk. And you can just look through this if you think this is something that you might be using. And then there's a night safety shuttle. So that runs from 7:30 p.m. to 3 a.m., 7 days a week. And then there's a door-to-door service, which is 3 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. You can view the map as well to see if you are within their area of boundaries. So it's kind of good to look through this because you never know when you'll be out late and you would like that extra safety. It's always good to have. Oh, and then there's also the Berkeley Warmi Nixle. So anybody affiliated with UC Berkeley will automatically be signed up with their UC Berkeley email. However, with your phone, you won't be getting notifications to your phone number. So I recommend just going ahead and also signing up for it and connecting your phone number as well. Because, if there are any alerts or, notifications, any danger, any hazards, anything like that that's going on around campus, it's good to be in the loop and know that that's happening. So let me just go ahead and put this in the chat as well. So you can go ahead and do that now as well. Okay, safety in Berkeley and the Bay Area. So this is a chart. Again, if there is an emergency, whether it's on campus or off campus, you should call 911. If you are on campus as well, call 911 and then you can call UCPD. That's campus police and they should be able to help you. When it's not an emergency, you can still call UCPD if you're on campus. If you're off campus and you're in Berkeley, you can call the Berkeley Police Department, the BPD non-emergency number, which is listed on here. And then I guess just one note, no matter where you are in the US, you can, when you're in an emergency, please always call 911. You'll automatically be connected to an emergency response team who should be able to help you. All right, safety in Berkeley and the Bay Area. So Berkeley is just like any other city. It can be, dangerous, prone to theft. So it's good to be on the lookout while you're here in Berkeley. So, lock your doors and your windows. Don't leave any valuables in your cars. Before you leave your car, just make sure there's nothing at all that's visible. You can put in your trunk or take it with you. Nothing on tables at restaurants or libraries. So no, don't leave your laptops unattended. Stay aware at ATMs, don't count money in public. You don't want to draw attention to yourself. Definitely don't carry any important immigration documents with you. Just leave them at home. I'd say when you're taking public transit or you're walking around, hold on to your electronics, know where they are, just have a good grip on them. Your wallet and your purse, just be mindful. Be aware of your surroundings, especially at night. I'd say also include, especially when you're like listening to music on headphones, just be aware. And then also if you have a bike, use a high quality U-lock and cable. Okay, and then we also want to talk a little bit about identity theft, phishing, and scams. What I will say off the bat is that these are definitely have been increasing over time as technology is getting smarter. So identity theft is essentially someone who wants to use someone else's information for their own personal gain, and they're using it as their own and presenting themselves as that person. Then there is phishing, where they're trying to get information from you. And then there is a scam where essentially it's like an illegal scheme to get money from you. So what do identity thieves look for? They'll be looking for personal information and passwords, social security numbers, and bank account information. What I'll say is your social security number is just for you. You do not need to report it to anybody. You do not need to even report it to our office. You should only enter it into like a secure system, like if you're setting up like your direct deposit or something, and that's the same for your bank account information. Phishing emails and text. So again, this has definitely been increasing. You might get like a text or an email claiming that they see unusual activity, either in your bank account or your immigration record. They might be asking you to confirm personal information, download software, or make a payment, or offering money, discounts, refunds, and coupons. I'd say don't respond to it. I'd say if anything looks off about it, trust your gut, don't follow it. Um, just I'd say it's best to be safe than sorry. And then last but not least, scammers and identity thieves, they often claim to be from a government agency. Sometimes they'll try to blackmail you. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, like you need to do X or else this person's going to get arrested, or they're making demands, they're threatening you. That's definitely a red flag. No government agency would be threatening you, and if you're not sure, feel free to check in with us. But another tip you can do as well, if someone's calling you and saying, hey, like I'm from X or Y, just hang up. You can also go to the official website, see if that's even a phone number that's listed on the official website. And if it's not, like, don't worry about it. You can report them to the FTC. You can come talk to us. But I'd say it's always better to not give them any information at all. Okay, and these are just some tips about avoiding scams and identity theft. Keep your computer antivirus software up to date. Don't log in to sensitive website via a public Wi-Fi connection. You might want to consider a VPN or something like that to protect yourself. If someone calls you, don't offer or confirm any information about yourself. You can try to get the phone number and name of the caller. You can try to look them up. But I'd say just hang out if you're not sure. Don't send any payments in any form through a wire transfer, through cash, or through gift cards. Again, if you're not sure, you can come talk to us. You can notify banks, Berkeley International Office, so us, and police as necessary. And then I'll just quickly pull up the bio website. We have a really good page on scams and safety. I kind of recommend going through this because I think it's really helpful. It talks about common scams, housing scams, phone scams, general safety tips, safety at night, protecting your valuables, scam avoidance. And then if you scroll down, what happens if they steal your important documents, what should you do? Definitely check in with us, but this also has really helpful information as well. And last but not least, don't be a stranger. We're here to support you. So we offer virtual drop-in advising, in-person drop-in advising. You can send us an email, but definitely feel free to check in with us if you have any questions. And I hope this was helpful.